You know, there's this quiet tension that a lot of us live with when it comes to money. It's not really a crisis, but it's this subtle feeling of being, well, adrift. A sense that even though we're working hard, our financial future isn't really moving forward with the same kind of intention. We save, we try to manage things, but deep down we know there's a gap between where we are and where we could be. Today, in this insight, we're going to look at a book that's designed to help us bridge that exact gap. So let's just sit with this question for a second. You work hard for your money, but is your money working just as hard for you? If we're being really honest, for many of us, the answer is probably not. It might just be sitting in a savings account, slowly losing its power to inflation. And yeah, it feels safe, but in reality, it's kind of like running on a treadmill. As the book we're exploring today points out, this isn't about us working harder. It's about making our money finally work smarter. And this is the core problem that author Bola Sokunbi really hones in on. Look, saving is absolutely the foundation. It's essential for emergencies and for our short-term goals, but it's just that, a foundation. It keeps us stable, sure, but it doesn't actually build the structure. To build real, lasting wealth that can outpace inflation, we have to make that move from the safety of saving to the potential of investing. And this book is all about how to make that move. So let's take a look at how this book guides us. It's not some dense, intimidating textbook. It's really framed as a practical, accessible guide, and it's designed specifically to take the fear out of investing. It offers a clear path for anyone who's ever felt like they're on the outside looking in, thinking it's just too complicated or that they've already missed the boat. The author here is Bola Sokunbi, and she's the founder of Clever Girl Finance, which is actually one of the biggest personal finance platforms for women in the US. Her work is really rooted in guidance that is both empowering but also incredibly approachable. So this isn't just abstract theory, it's grounded in her actual experience of helping thousands and thousands of people take control of their financial lives, which makes her a really credible and, I think, empathetic expert. And notice the word she emphasizes here: confidence. So Combi really gets that for so many of us, the biggest barrier isn't a lack of information, it's a lack of confidence. The book's whole approach is built around this idea. Let's break down the concepts into simple, actionable steps. Let's demystify all the jargon and empower you, the reader, to take that first step with clarity, not with fear. All right, so the book's first major insight, and this is so important, is that before you even look at a stock or a fund, the real work begins internally. It argues that our success with money is determined less by the specific strategies we pick and way more by the beliefs we hold about it. This is absolutely foundational. You just can't build a new financial future on top of an old mental blueprint. This comparison just illustrates that core mindset shift perfectly. On one side, you have the common fear, right? The fear of doing something wrong. But the book completely reframes this, arguing the real risk is in doing nothing at all. Now, this doesn't mean we should be reckless, of course not. But it does mean we have to recognize that the cost of inaction, of letting time and the power of compounding just pass you by, is often so much greater than the risk of making a small, educated mistake early on. The real shift is moving your fear away from, what if I fail, to, what if I never even start? So Kumbi points out that many of us are carrying around these limiting beliefs without even realizing it. Things like, oh, I'm just not good with numbers, or investing is only for rich people. The book gives you a framework for actually identifying these mental scripts we're running and then actively rewriting them. And this isn't just about positive thinking, it's the absolutely necessary first step before you can take any kind of intentional action. So the book provides a really practical process for this. It suggests that you don't just ignore your past mistakes or fears, but you actively engage with them. So first, you just identify a fear. Then you find the lesson inside of it. Maybe a mistake taught you just how important an emergency fund is. And finally, you forgive yourself and you reframe it. That experience isn't a failure anymore. It's the lesson that makes you a smarter person today. It's about turning old baggage into a new foundation. Okay, so once that mindset piece is addressed, the book moves on to the actual engine of building wealth. And through her research, Sokumbi found that one theme just kept emerging above all the others. It wasn't about picking the perfect stock. It wasn't about timing the market. It was something, well, far less glamorous, but infinitely more powerful. Our culture loves to glorify the brilliant investor, the one who makes some kind of genius move. But this book argues that real, sustainable wealth is built through discipline, not drama. It's simply the habit of regularly putting money to work, month after month, year after year, that truly creates financial independence. So, what does consistency actually look like in practice? Well, it means automating your investments so they happen without you even thinking about it. It means you keep investing when the market is up, but just as importantly, you keep investing when the market is down. It's all about detaching your long term strategy from your short term emotions. You create a sound plan, and then you let it do its work. And to make this feel less abstract, the book uses some really powerful examples. Investing just $500 a month over 30 years could potentially grow to $500,000, assuming an average market return. The magic here isn't the amount of money, it's the combination of consistency and time. That is the incredible power of compounding, and it turns small, regular habits into significant wealth. Now, here's a really important nuance the book makes because, let's be real, that call for consistency can feel a little overwhelming. What if you lose your job? The book is clear that this is a principle, not some dogmatic rule. A good financial plan isn't so rigid that it breaks under the pressure of actual life. The goal is a sustainable habit over the long haul, not perfection. It's about getting back on track after life inevitably happens. This brings us to the next big barrier the book helps us tackle: the illusion of complexity. So many of us believe that you have to be some kind of expert to be a successful investor. The book argues really strongly against this, and instead advocates for simple, proven, low-cost tools. One of the main tools recommended for beginners is the index fund. So let's just demystify this for a second. Instead of trying to pick out individual winning companies, which is incredibly hard, an index fund simply buys a tiny piece of all the companies in a major market index, like the S&P 500. So you're not trying to beat the market, you're essentially trying to be the market. It's a way to participate in the whole economy's growth without all the stress of stock picking. So why does simplicity work so well? Well, as the book explains, it just has these really clear advantages. Low fees mean more of your money actually stays invested and working for you. You get built-in diversification, which reduces your risk. It's a set-it-and-forget-it approach that really aligns with that idea of consistency. And maybe most importantly, it takes a lot of the emotion out of the process. From my own experience, the most difficult part for so many people is just overcoming the story they've told themselves, that an investor is a certain type of person who loves spreadsheets and complex charts. What this book does so well is it completely dismantles that myth. It gives you permission to use simple, powerful tools that let you get on with your life while your money just works quietly in the background. And that mental shift, it's everything. So we've moved from that vague anxiety of financial drift to a pretty clear three-part path. First, shifting your mindset, then committing to consistency, and finally, embracing simplicity. So now we bring it all together and focus on the single most important part of all: actually taking the first step. The book is very deliberate about making this first step as non-intimidating as it can possibly be. The goal is not to build your entire portfolio overnight. The goal is simply to break inertia, to do one tiny thing that signals a shift from just passively learning to actively participating. So, what is that one thing? Here it is, the book's final practical takeaway. The one action to take from this is simple, and it's emotionally safe. This week, choose a well-regarded investment platform. Go to their website and just open an account. That's it. You don't have to put any money in yet. The whole goal is just to overcome that initial administrative hurdle, to create the space where your money can go to work. You're just opening the door. That really captures the spirit of this book, doesn't it? It's not about just agreeing with these ideas. It's about the quiet, consistent application of them in your own life. That is where the transformation really happens. If you found this insight valuable, feel free to subscribe for more explainers like this one. You can also download a free one-page action plan that summarizes the steps from this video right in the description below. Thank you for your time.